Hi, this is Tatiana, and this is one of my videos in the series Games Narcissists Play about holidays and gifts as a game that narcissists use to hurt you. So before I get started, I wanted to state, as I do in the beginning of all my videos, that I'm not a doctor, and these videos are part of my own coping strategy, as well as my hope is actually that when I tell these stories that I'm validating someone who may be in an abusive relationship. I'm hoping that you've come across my video because you suspect that you're in an abusive relationship, and if you don't have someone to talk to, you can listen to these stories and the stories that I tell in this playlist that I have on Truthball in Search of Goof YouTube channel. So check out the other ones as well and see if these are things that you've lived through that you relate to, so that you can be validated in understanding if you are in an abusive relationship, and you can start making a plan on how to get out. Okay, so in regards to holidays and gifts, I know someone was talking a while back in my support group about, oh, did they give, did your guy, give you really crappy gifts and stuff like that? And I thought, I knew that that was something that was done, but it's not an obvious one. I'm looking at my camera like, okay, forget it. My hair is just going to be bad. Games that codependents play, messing with their hair. Okay, so, but holidays really, truly, and I know, Easter just passed here, and, a lot of people were suffering during the holidays with a wide variety of ways that the holiday is made miserable. So, that is a game that narcissists play, and I became aware of that several years ago now, when I was raising a now ex-boyfriend's daughter, and really, actually, I think that relationship is what made me. I knew that I was codependent, for many years, and I've worked on that, but this particular daughter was so overwhelming to me. It was just so overwhelmingly aggressive and violent, and not physical threats of physical violence for sure, but anyway, everything just came to such an extreme that I thought that was the first time I realized this is true narcissist. This is someone who truly enjoys the pain that they're causing, because once I had pulled out of the games, I could just observe her, and just observing made me realize all of these behaviors are games, that the person is enjoying them. And what I noticed regarding holidays, family outings, etc., at first I think because her mother has rejected her so much, she doesn't know how to accept love. That's really what I thought for a long time, because every time that we had something good happen, she would have a meltdown. And over time I realized she was creating a lot of the meltdowns. So yes, there were positive things happening, and she would have a meltdown. So once I discontinued doing those positive things, natural positive things, going shopping for her, teaching her, about makeup and how to dress for her body type, and how to cook and make cakes for her friends, and, natural stuff, and the meltdowns that would come. So instead, once I pulled away from doing those things, then I could clearly see that she was creating these things. So, and I have several examples, but for this particular person, regarding holidays, this was the big thing, was that she would go to be with her mother's family for the holidays, which really hurt her dad because, you know, the rest of her family, there's a lot of dysfunction there, but she would go and spend the holiday with them. And I saw the pain that it caused him. So that was the first thing I saw really regarding the holiday, was actually that the dad being kind of codependent on her, that it caused him immense pain. And then over time I saw, when I saw the pattern, I started to remember more examples from my life. So here we go. As a child, my father was very abusive and is narcissistic. And my brother came to visit me this past Christmas, and we hadn't been together for a long, 15 years or so, 25 years since we had spent Christmas together, and since we were teenagers. And, you know, he was saying, hey, how about we throw the Christmas tree through the window for old time's sake? And we laughed because that happened. That happened several years in a row. That Christmas was completely annihilated. We were in the middle of a wonderful holiday. I remember one time we were going to a friend's house, and it was kind of like a talent show kind of thing. All of these families coming together, and we were in the middle of, as a family, singing this song. And I'm not even a good singer, and we sounded awesome. It was so great. It was so like, you know, he was married to his third wife, who's a sweetheart. She was just a wonderful person, and she had taught us this song. And I remember standing there singing it, surrounded by my siblings, and just thinking, this is so awesome, so family oriented. And we were practicing. Actually, the party was literally next door, and I don't know what happened. But all of a sudden there was a burst of aggression, and the Christmas tree was thrown through the glass sliding door, and we didn't go to the party, which was, you know, even more mortifying because they lived next door. They knew we were home with a Christmas tree sticking out of our door. So anyway, that every Christmas with, you know, my dad, there was wonderful Christmases when we were super young, and then as we got older, it just became, you know, worse and worse until it got to that Christmas tree stuff. And then I moved out. I moved out of my home when I was 14. So I just celebrate the best Thanksgiving and Christmas ever, whether I'm by myself or with someone, is how I cope with that. Anyway, so you may be familiar with that. You don't know what happened, but if you sit down and look at it as a pattern, every Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, there's some kind of drama. For example, I know a common one is to have a narcissistic parent of your spouse send a holiday card without your name on it so that you feel rejected. Or you know, you go to the family gatherings and there's some kind of fight on the way or on the way back, and there's just never peace. Never, when you look at it as a pattern, you know. So another example was I've mentioned this in a couple videos, I think, was my ex-husband's dad would, I don't remember, we never did Christmases together, but he and his wife should come up every Thanksgiving, and it wasn't until they were late arriving that my husband would call, and then the dad would put on a guilt trip about how his vehicle wasn't, you know, sound enough to take the drive up. So that happened several Thanksgivings as well, until we altered that by going down to their house. So because every single year it was some kind of drama. They'd never call in the morning. They didn't call 2 weeks early and say, hey, we need new tires or whatever in order to make the drive up. Can you help us out? It was never anything like that. It was like, it's Thanksgiving dinner. The food is on the table. They're 2 hours late. Are you going to call your parents? He calls his parents, and it's like, oh, you know, I don't think we can make it. And it's like, how disrespectful is that? Why couldn't you just pick up the phone? Instead, you wait until we're feeling abandoned. So on a holiday, okay. And then speaking about gifts, you know, gifts is kind of a, I can't say that that's all the time, you know, because like I remember being a kid with my dad and we had great presents, but maybe that was because my mom, or my dad's second wife, my stepmom, was really into giving gifts. But I have the first abusive relationship that I was in. If you want, you know, if you stop and say, does an abusive person use gifts as a way to hurt you? And this person was very abusive, and I had to get a restraining order eventually. Very verbally abusive, and he absolutely did use gifts. We had the same birthday, 10 years apart, but the same exact birthday. And he never, we were together for 4 years, he never bought me a birthday present, never. And in fact, I think he gave me maybe an Easter card, something super duper random when we first got together. You know, when he's love bombing me, when, you know, it's overwhelmingly loving. He had given me a card. And sometime after we had broken up, I realized he never gave me a gift. Never anything. Never nothing. We had always financially split everything until the last year of our relationship, where I paid for everything. But never. He never brought me a candy bar, never anything. And I remember, I think it was our first birthday. It was our first birthday together, or Christmas, something like that. It must have been Christmas. Anyway, and I had, he had been complaining something about his towels, and he was very OCD, so we had separate bathrooms, and I had bought him a brand new set of towels. And we both worked late in the evenings, and so he had come home late in the evening, and I, you know, then I saved up my money, I bought you this brand new set of towels. And he had some kind of gaslighting meltdown. And at that time I was about 18, maybe 19. I had no idea what was going on. So like I said, I'm looking back and seeing these as patterns of abusive behavior. So looking back, yeah, that's right. When I gave him a gift, which is the only gift ever, because this was the end of it. There was never, it was me trying to exchange, you know, expecting that there was going to be a gift exchange, and there wasn't, and he had a huge meltdown. And I remember, because I worked, anyway, yeah, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, because I worked late, the late night shift, and 2 o'clock in the morning, I remember not knowing what it is possibly that I could have done wrong, but I was bawling my eyes out, and I took the box of towels and threw it into the dumpster. And maybe another hour or two later of arguing and being yelled at and crying and all that kind of stuff, he went out and he got the towels. And I remember when he went out to get the towels, it didn't make sense either. It didn't make sense. I mean, I just felt worthless and useless and stupid and all the things that he was trying to make me feel, but then he went and got them. So I thought, now I'm really, really confused. And I was always really, really confused until many, many, many years later, when I looked back on the pattern and saw that he did get the towels, and for a year he complained about those towels. Every single time he used them, he complained about those towels. So I guess maybe, you know, he recognized, like, he had created so much pain and drama that that was an opportunity he just couldn't give up. he could relive that misery, and he did relive that misery for at least a year. Maybe he ended up getting some new towel. I can't remember. Or maybe he just got bored with that game. Can't remember. So, but I remember many times every time he used those towels, he would say something negative about them. Okay, and so not even, just hurting you with gifts, but it can be the gift that you gave them. I know someone else who the fiance gives her gifts that she doesn't like because they're not good gifts, but he'll continuously come back and ask, like, where's that gift? Where's that gift? Do you have that gift? You haven't thrown it away, have you? Blah, 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 blah. And so she's holding on to all this crap she doesn't like. So, including the relationship, right? Okay, and then this was a very interesting one. I talk about this in the Covert Overt Narcissist video. Now that guy, our relationship was very short because when he stopped love bombing me, when he revealed who he was, I immediately knew what was going on. It took me about a month of shock to know for sure, but I was like, oh my gosh, and started looking and seeing if he was abusive. So since it was a short term, in that love bombing phase where it's like overwhelming, with a perfect match kind of thing, he did give me very good presents. Very good, right? I mean, that's how it starts. Like, oh, I just love you, and this is just meant to be, and we're so perfect, and really great gifts. And this was the very interesting thing with that situation, because it was, we had moved in together right before, about a month before Christmas, I think, about a month. Anyway, and he was in the process of a divorce, and his kids, I told him, we'll bring the kids to the house, and so I just completely decorated the house. It was way too early for me to meet the kids, I felt. But, I thought, you need to preserve that, quality time with your kids, especially during a divorce. So there were no pictures of us in the house and stuff like that. And so I wrapped all their presents, filled up their stockings, all of that kind of stuff. And then I left for the day. Or that was my plan. And so I had said, we were in a new area. I knew somebody kind of nearby. Anyway, so this is holiday and gifts. So so I gave him the house. I was giving him the house for him and the kids for Christmas, and I said, we can celebrate Christmas in the evening together, and during the day, I don't really know anybody here, but my friend's son is in town, and he's older, but nevertheless, he's in town, and I'll go out and, we'll have some drinks and stuff. And all of a sudden he got super pissed off at me. Like, well, I'm going to be here with the kids and you're going to go out drinking? And it was kind of like, well, it's Christmas Day. I'm not saying that I'm going to go out and, party my pants off. It's Christmas Day. I mean, hang out and have some drinks and watch TV or whatever. I mean, he's a young kid, I mean, what else does he want to do? I like doing that kind of stuff too. I'm not, anyway. So you see what I mean? Like, why in the world would we be having this argument? What would make you think like I'm gonna be walking out of the house on Christmas morning in leather and black pumps? Some 6-inch heels. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about hanging out. Football game watching. Chips and kind of Christmas Day stuff. So anyway, it was a huge argument. So now I'm literally outside the house on Christmas Day, and I have permission to take him to lunch. And I'm sitting in the car alone on Christmas Day and thinking, yeah, I know that this is abusive. I know that this is abusive. I've given everything that I possibly could for him and his children, and I'm alone in the car with permission to do what he approved for me to do this day. So that was the holiday disaster. The gift thing, a lot of people say that the reason that gifts is a games that narcissists play is because they don't know you. They don't really care about anybody. So they can't give you a gift that is that indicates their love for you and their understanding of you and what you like, because they really don't know. What they do know is what hurts you. They've kept very good track of that. But they don't really know what would make you happy, and certainly they don't want to make you happy. So with this Christmas thing, I thought it was utterly fascinating as I was wrapping the presents, because he had bought them a lot of presents, 3 kids. He had bought them a lot of presents, but as I'm wrapping them, I'm noticing this pattern. It was an obvious pattern. All 3 of his kids, let me see, what were the ages? I think it was like 15, 17, and 19. All of them got things that he liked. And, you know, on my YouTube channel, I try to be as private as possible, so I actually can't say what he bought them, because it would probably even indicate the kind of industry he's in. So I can say that. They were all from his industry, like, you know, an airport gift, you know, but within his industry, meaning there's stuff that you would buy if you were into it, and that's it. If you're into it, you know what I mean? Like, there's buying jewelry for someone, and then you have to actually know that person well enough to know what kind of jewelry they like. This is, the subject matter was what he liked, and the theme. How would I give an example? Okay, let's say, you know, if your mom's a narcissist and she's into butterflies, and she buys everybody butterfly crap. That's what was going on. It was like what he liked from his industry, and it was so bizarre. 3 kids, and I was like, he was like, oh, they like that, and after a while, I thought, no, your children do what you like. Because I would ask him sometimes, what do they da-da-da-da-da? What do they? And I tried to find out a little here and there about his kids, and I thought, no, there's just no way. There is no way. I wasn't that into what my dad did when I was a kid. So anyway, I hope that made sense, since I can't say specifically what the gifts were. But point is, narcissist. All the kids got gifts of what he liked so that they could behave like, we love you, Dad. We love you. Good. You better like what I like. Never said it like that, but that is absolutely always how he treated them. For them to like what he liked, to go to the movies that he liked. Okay, and then lastly, regarding gifts, my ex-husband, the covert narcissist, as I go back and try to look at patterns, hey, I've given bad gifts, okay? Plus, I'm super duper crafty, so probably all my girlfriends are like this when I give them gifts, right? I'm like, it's super sentimental, and look, I put your name on it, and this special thing we did, you know. I can definitely give crappy gifts without being a narcissist, but because, you know, I spend time caring, you know, and I'll usually give it with some kind of an apology, like, I tried to make it match the colors in your bedroom. You know, it's like, it's sentimental, and in fact, usually I'll say, like, I pretty much just opened up this package and puked some sentimentality in it, because I do love you. I love them very much, so much. I'll spend hours. Okay, so you see what I mean? You can definitely have crappy gifts and not be a narcissist. But when you're looking back at the holiday or the gift, did it cause pain A narcissist is trying to cause you pain because they thrive on your hurt. So, or they thrive on your rejection, either one. So my ex-husband, I remember this is it's not necessarily a gift, but this was key. This was a key moment of me starting to understand stuff. But one example was, oh, well, of course, the first one I've mentioned in another video is that when we got married, he was supposed to buy me a ring, and because of our religious beliefs, we were exchanging rings at a different location. When the day after our wedding is when we were going to do that. We were going to go exchange rings. So I had the ring, and then as we neared the location the next day, he said that, well, he never had purchased a ring, and we had been officially engaged for 1.5 years. So he had not gone to buy a ring in 1.5 years. And said, oh, well, we can stop at Walmart and get a ring on the way. So that was super duper hurtful. So you see, not necessarily a gift, but certainly something that he should have picked out that was sentimental. Then something happened with my car, and after we were married, something happened with my car, and we decided, no, let's just go ahead and sell it, and we'll get another used car. And I said, really, cars aren't important to me as long as it's not red and it's not a neon, because I really hate neons. They're so ugly. I said to me, and as long as it's not a red neon. And sure enough, a couple days later, his friend just so happens to be working on a car that he's going to sell. It is a red neon with a dent in the front. They don't even have fenders. It's like this. What an ugly car. Anyway, yeah, that's what he got me. And I remember just thinking, how? Because even then I thought, you didn't even necessarily have to go out of your way, but what are the chances that your friend is working on a red neon? Your friend fixes cars, and he just I thought, the universe is helping you be cruel and heartless to me. So, not a gift, but still, and we had enough money. We could have waited something for him to just at that moment as my husband and say, but darling, I know he's got this, but can you wait, hon? Can we figure out a way for us to wait? Because I don't want you to have to drive something that you truly don't like. You're such an amenable person. There's only 2 limits that you gave to me. I'm not going to do that to you. Isn't that weird? Let's laugh about that. No, it was like, we're getting you the red neon. Dented red neon. Okay, and then I remember every Christmas sucked. The Christmas holiday, we did do the holidays how I like to do the holidays. So he never destroyed Christmas. He would destroy the gift-giving part. And so I can't remember, I think it was like 2 or 3 years after we were married, and I had, I'm like fed up with, okay, this is what I want. This is exactly what I want. You don't need to worry about trying to pick out the right thing. This is exactly what I want. I don't want any problems. Get this, get this, get this. It's at this store, that store, this store. I'm like problem solving. I do not like arguing. I'm problem solving. Let's just take care of it. So I told him exactly what I wanted. And instead of getting me exactly what I wanted, he got me the least comparable alternative. And so I remember one Christmas, that Christmas where I was like, I can't do it anymore. Buy me this, this, and this. Instead, he bought, like, for example, there was an umbrella. It was a beautiful umbrella. This is when those first, like, impressionist paintings on the umbrella came out. We lived up in the Pacific Northwest, so we used umbrellas. And I told him where it was. I told him, this is how much it costs. I mean, it's like, perfectly fine. And so I'm going down, with the Christmas gifts, like just more and more disappointed, more and more disappointed. But then there's this box that I know has to be the umbrella. So I'm thinking, at the very least, God, please. And I open it up, and it's just a basic black umbrella from Walmart. And I just had an emotional meltdown. I just started crying. I just started crying. And I think for me, it was just that kind of like, there's, a giving up, And at the time, I was not consciously aware that he was doing that on purpose. At the time, I remember I started crying, and then he looked at me super annoyed. And I was really, really crying, like girly PMS type of crying, and asking him, why couldn't you just get me exactly what I asked for? I mean, Walmart was miles from where we lived, and the store that had the umbrella that I wanted was 5 doors down from his workplace. Why did he go out of his way to get me something that I didn't want? I have a regular umbrella. I do. We all did, And I just really was pleading and just confused and sad, and I didn't know, and he was just annoyed. He was just annoyed and pissed off at me, and so I didn't get an answer. I didn't get any kind of answer. Like I went to the store and they were out would have been an appropriate response. I went to the store that you said they didn't have it, so I went to Walmart. I didn't even get that. It was just like I was ungrateful. And I was ungrateful for that. I was trying my best to stop the hurt that I didn't understand that was going on the holidays. So coming back all the way around, this is the purpose of the video, is when we're in an abusive relationship, it is hard to understand because you're being lied to, or things are being left out, and you're hurting. And I was hurting over things that on the outside you would say, well, Tatiana, you got an umbrella. You asked for an umbrella. You got an umbrella. What's the big deal? And why are you making a video about it, 15 years later? Did it really hurt you that much? Yes, it actually hurt me that much because gift giving is showing that you care. Whether gift giving is your language of love or not, you still work at trying to, if someone is expecting that gift as an expression of love, you work at that. You do something about that to do it the best. And if you've got no idea, you're just the worst gift buyer, then you say, just tell me exactly what you want, because I want you to get exactly what you want. There's no cruelty in that. There might be a lack of spontaneity, but that person is trying to show you that they care. And that's what we're talking about here, is somehow those caring holidays and that caring gift exchange or reception is in a pattern extremely painful, and you don't know why. So hopefully this is helpful to you if you are considering, that I have a pattern in my life, and I think that this person is abusive. This is the time for you to think about that it's not normal. It's not normal, and it's not the way that caring people behave. And or they are actually enjoying your rejection and hurt. Okay, so I close all of my videos. If you are thinking that you are in an abusive relationship and this is triggering some thoughts, I would encourage you to kind of write down, journal out some of the experiences that you've gone through to see if that's a pattern. And also, I always close the video reminding you that you can talk to someone about this or any of the other games that you think are being played on you. Mental games that hurt. I call them games that narcissists play. If you want to talk to someone about those and the patterns that you may be experiencing in your life, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline here in the United States. The number is 1-800-799-SAFE, 1-800-799-SAFE, 1-800-799-7233. It's completely anonymous. You can talk to them about whatever is bothering you. I think they ask you your city and state, a couple of statistic questions, but it is anonymous. And they are there to listen and or hook you up with resources if you are in a dangerous situation and are trying to figure out how to get out. Okay, so I hope this is helpful for someone out there, and thank you for letting me talk about them, because like I said, it's good for me to vent. It's helpful for me in my coping strategy to make patterns and to pull out myself from the emotional connection I had to it. As I said with the umbrella, it emotionally devastated me more than you would normally think. So as I've educated myself about games that narcissists play, I no longer feel hurt about it. I look at it and say, oh, okay, that was a game, it was a pattern. He did that to do this to me, and it did that at that time. Okay, I'm just a pawn in that game. I was a pawn, and I'm no longer a pawn in that game, and it doesn't hurt anymore. That's my goal for you. Okay? Much love.